Cary Grant, the iconic Hollywood actor, had a complex personal life with its share of trauma and challenges. One notable aspect was his difficult relationship with his father, who was an alcoholic and physically abusive. Grant's mother was also emotionally distant, which contributed to his struggles with trust and intimacy throughout his life. In terms of his romantic life, Grant went through multiple marriages and relationships, including marriages to actresses Virginia Cherrill, Barbara Hutton, and Dyan Cannon. Despite his on-screen persona as the epitome of charm and sophistication, Grant faced personal struggles with his identity and finding lasting happiness in his relationships. Join us today as we cover the legend Cary Grant, and please let us know which other legends you would like us to cover. Grant's early life was marked by tragedy and hardship. Born as Archibald Alec Leach, he entered the world on January 18, 1904, in the quiet suburb of Horfield, located in the northern part of Bristol, England. His parents, Elias James Leach and Elsie Maria Leach, had their fair share of struggles. His father toiled as a tailor's presser in a clothing factory, while his mother worked as a seamstress. Unfortunately, Grant's childhood was far from idyllic. His older brother, John William Elias Leach, passed away from tuberculous meningitis just 2 days before his first birthday. This loss undoubtedly cast a shadow over Grant's early years. Moreover, his father battled alcoholism, and his mother grappled with clinical depression. The combination of these challenges created a deeply unhappy upbringing for Grant. Reflecting on his difficult past, Grant's wife, Dyan Cannon, expressed her shock and sorrow. As someone who works closely with troubled youth, she had heard countless stories of families breaking down, but Grant's experiences were particularly harrowing. The trauma he endured during his childhood was truly unimaginable. At the tender age of 4, Cary Grant's mother immersed him in the world of song and dance, instilling in him a love for music and performance. With a keen eye for his potential, she ensured he received piano lessons, nurturing his talents from a young age. Amidst occasional trips to the cinema, where he marveled at the on-screen brilliance of legends like Charlie Chaplin and Fatty Arbuckle, Grant's mother provided glimpses of joy in an otherwise tumultuous childhood. Yet, beneath the surface of these fond memories lay a shadow of sorrow. Biographers paint a picture of a mother unable to express affection, her heart burdened by the tragic loss of Grant's brother, John. The weight of guilt consumed her, leaving scars that never healed. Grant, too, felt the sting of her unresolved grief, grappling with the absence of maternal warmth and struggling to forge meaningful connections with women as he grew older. In her quest to shield him from harm, Grant's mother wielded discipline with a heavy hand, withholding pocket money and disapproving of vices like alcohol and tobacco. Her actions, born from a place of fear and overprotectiveness, inadvertently shaped Grant's perception of love and relationships, leaving behind a legacy of longing and unresolved pain. As a young boy of 9, Cary Grant's world was shattered when his father took his mother away to Glenside Hospital, a mental institution, pretending it was for a long holiday. Feeling deceived and abandoned, Grant grew up with resentment, believing his mother had left him. Left to navigate childhood alone, he and his father sought solace in his grandmother's home in Bristol, overshadowed by loss. As Grant turned 10, his father's betrayal deepened as he remarried and started a new family, leaving Grant to mourn his shattered world. Decades later, the bitter truth emerged: his mother was alive, hidden in an institution. 31 years of absence and longing hit him like a wave of despair, burdened by his father's deception. In his despair, Grant found comfort in the theater, escaping his fractured reality. Christmas pantomimes offered fleeting joy amidst the darkness, especially with the Penders' acrobatic performances. Despite the stage's bright lights, Grant's soul remained tied to his painful past, haunting his every move. Fate intervened at the Wintergarten Theatre in Berlin, propelling him into a path of triumph and tragedy. Grant was awarded a scholarship to attend Fairfield Grammar School in Bristol in 1915, despite his father's financial struggles to afford the uniform. He demonstrated proficiency in various academic subjects, with a particular talent for sports, especially fives. Grant's charm, good looks, and acrobatic skills made him a popular individual among his peers. Known for his mischievous nature, he often neglected his homework. Described by a former classmate as a scruffy little boy, Grant's teachers also remembered him as a troublemaker who disrupted classes and avoided homework assignments. In his spare time, he worked backstage at Bristol theatres, eventually taking on lighting responsibilities for magician David Devant at the Bristol Empire in 1917. Grant's passion for theatre led him to spend countless hours backstage, and he even volunteered as a messenger boy and guide at the military docks in Southampton during the summer to escape his unhappy home life. His experiences in Southampton fueled his desire to explore the world, prompting him to attempt signing on as a ship's cabin boy, although he was deemed too young for the role. On a fateful day, March 13, 1918, Cary Grant's tumultuous journey took another unexpected turn as he found himself expelled from Fairfield at the tender age of 14. The reasons behind his expulsion varied, from the scandalous accusation of being discovered in the girls' lavatory to allegations of involvement in theft alongside two classmates in the neighboring town of Almondsbury. Amongst the whispers of scandal and disgrace, Grant's true intentions remained shrouded in mystery. Some speculate that Grant orchestrated his expulsion with purposeful intent, a calculated move to break free from the shackles of academia and pursue his dreams of a career in entertainment alongside the Pender Troupe. 3 short days after his expulsion, he rejoined their ranks, leaving behind the stifling confines of school for the promise of the stage. As the dust settled on his abrupt departure, questions swirled around Grant's unconventional living arrangements in Bristol, far from the watchful gaze of his father in Southampton. Local authorities, curious about his circumstances, sought answers from the Pender Troupe, casting a shadow of uncertainty over his newfound freedom. In a twist of fate, Grant's expulsion paved the way for a transformative opportunity, as his father, recognizing the potential in his son's talent, co-signed a 3-year contract with Pender. This pivotal agreement outlined Grant's path forward, promising not only a weekly salary but also room and board, dancing lessons, and comprehensive training in his chosen profession until the age of 18. With each provision carefully laid out, the contract offered a glimmer of hope amidst the uncertainty, a beacon guiding Grant towards his destiny on the stage. The Pender Troupe embarked on a nationwide tour, and Grant's involvement in pantomime enhanced his physical abilities, expanding his acting repertoire. They set sail on the RMS Olympic on July 21, 1920, when Grant was just 16 years old, and arrived in the United States a week later. On the same ship, Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, who were returning from their honeymoon, crossed paths with Grant. Grant even had the opportunity to play shuffleboard with Fairbanks, who became a significant influence in his life. Upon reaching New York, the troupe showcased their talents at the New York Hippodrome, a colossal theater with a seating capacity of 5,697, making it the largest in the world at that time. They mesmerized audiences for 9 months, delivering an impressive 12 shows per week, and their production of Good Times was a resounding success. Grant understood the challenges of stand-up comedy all too well. Each performance demanded a unique sense of timing, adapting to the audience and the venue's size. It was a constant process of fine-tuning and adjusting, ensuring that every show was a memorable experience for all. Now this is where it gets interesting. Grant's love life was certainly eventful, as he walked down the aisle a total of 5 times. His first marriage was to Virginia Cherrill, a union that took place on February 9, 1934, in London. Unfortunately, their relationship was short-lived, and they divorced on March 26, 1935, amidst allegations of domestic violence. The divorce proceedings were highly publicized, with Cherrill demanding a substantial sum of $1,000 per week from Grant's earnings. After parting ways with Cherrill, Grant found companionship with actress Phyllis Brooks in 1937. The couple even contemplated tying the knot and enjoyed a romantic European getaway in 1939. However, their love story came to an end later that year. Grant's next venture into matrimony was with Barbara Hutton, one of the wealthiest women in the world, in 1942. Hutton had inherited a staggering $50 million fortune from her grandfather, Frank Winfield Woolworth. Their marriage earned them the playful nickname Cash and Carey, although Grant made sure to avoid any financial settlements in their prenuptial agreement to dispel any accusations of marrying for money. During their time together, they resided in a stunning white mansion in Bel Air. Despite their eventual divorce in 1945, they remained close friends. Following his split from Hutton, Grant briefly dated Betty Hensel before finding lasting love with Betsy Drake. Drake, who co-starred with Grant in 2 films, became his third wife on December 25, 1949. Their marriage proved to be his longest-lasting, spanning over a decade before ending on August 14, 1962. The course of Grant's life took a significant turn when his daughter Jennifer came into the world. It made him realize that our purpose on this planet is to create life, to leave a lasting legacy. He understood that his films may not endure, but the existence of another human being is what truly matters. Grant cherished his role as a father and often referred to Jennifer as his greatest achievement. However, his marriage to Dyan Cannon came to an end in August 1967. Tragedy struck when Grant was involved in a car accident on his way to JFK Airport in New York. He suffered injuries, including 3 broken ribs, and spent 17 days in the hospital. The accident also harmed his companion, Baroness Gracia von Furstenberg. Just 9 days after the accident, Grant and Cannon finalized their divorce. Grant had a brief romantic involvement with actress Cynthia Buron during the late 1960s. Their relationship was not without its complications, as Grant had been at odds with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences since 1958. However, in 1970, he surprised everyone by accepting an Academy Honorary Award and announcing his attendance at the awards ceremony. This decision marked the end of his 12-year boycott of the event. However, just 2 days after his announcement, things took an unexpected turn. Buron filed a paternity suit against Grant, publicly claiming that he was the father of her 7-week-old daughter. She even went as far as naming him as the father on the child's birth certificate. Grant, determined to clear his name, challenged her to a blood test. Unfortunately for Buron, she failed to provide the necessary evidence, leading the court to order her to remove Grant's name from the birth certificate. In the years that followed, Grant found himself in the company of other women. From 1973 to 1977, he dated British photojournalist Maureen Donaldson, and later, he embarked on a relationship with a much younger Victoria Morgan. Grant's love life was certainly eventful, filled with ups and downs, but it was a testament to his enduring charm and charisma. Grant tied the knot with Barbara Harris, a British hotel public relations agent, on April 11, 1981. Despite their significant age difference of 46 years, their love story blossomed. Their paths crossed in 1976 at the Royal Lancaster Hotel in London, where Harris was employed and Grant was attending a Fayburge conference. Initially, they developed a friendship, but it wasn't until 1979 that Harris decided to relocate to California and live with Grant. Those close to Grant noticed the positive influence Harris had on him, and even Prince Rainier of Monaco observed that Grant had never experienced such happiness as he did during his final years with her. Now, let's go back a bit and talk about the legend's career. In the late 1920s, Grant's talent shone on Broadway, captivating audiences with his performances. One of his notable appearances was in the 1931 musical Nicky, where he played the role of Kay, a brave soldier fighting for the affections of Fay Wray's character. Although the musical didn't have a long run, Grant's portrayal received immense praise, opening doors for him in the film industry. His first taste of the silver screen came with the short film Singapore Sue, which caught the attention of studios. Encouraged by this newfound interest, Grant made the decision to leave New York behind and embark on a journey to Los Angeles. It was in Los Angeles that Grant's career truly took flight. Paramount Studios recognized his potential and offered him a contract, but they also suggested a change in his name. Thus, Archie Leach transformed into the iconic Cary Grant, a name that would forever be associated with charm and sophistication. According to Hollywood legend, his first name was inspired by a previous stage role, while his last name was chosen from a list provided by the studio. Grant's first feature film, This Is the Night, hit the screens in 1932, marking the beginning of his remarkable journey in the world of cinema. Soon, he found himself sharing the screen with legendary leading ladies like Marlene Dietrich and Mae West, solidifying his status as a Hollywood star. In the late 1930s, Grant had already established himself as a prominent leading man in Hollywood. He showcased his versatility by starring in a variety of films, ranging from intense war dramas to captivating mysteries to hilarious comedies. However, it was in 1937 that his career soared to new heights with the release of The Topper. This screwball comedy showcased Grant's incredible talent as he portrayed a sophisticated spirit who, alongside his late wife, decided to playfully haunt an old friend. Grant's impeccable comedic timing and knack for physical humor truly shone through in this film. During this period, Grant also delivered some of his most memorable performances. Films like The Awful Truth, 1937, alongside Irene Dunne, and The Philadelphia Story with Katharine Hepburn and Jimmy Stewart have since become timeless classics. In these roles, Grant often portrayed a charming and witty gentleman, a character type that suited him perfectly. However, he also sought to challenge the audience's expectations from time to time. For instance, in the 1941 thriller Suspicion, he played a potentially dangerous husband opposite Joan Fontaine, marking his first collaboration with the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock. Grant's versatility was further showcased in Penny Serenade, 1941, where he skillfully balanced humor and grief as a husband experiencing both joy and heartbreak in his marriage. His exceptional performance in this film earned him a well-deserved Academy Award nomination. One of Grant's most significant dramatic leaps came in 1944 with None But the Lonely Heart. Directed and co-written by Clifford Odets, this film featured Grant as a wandering prodigal son who returns home to care for his ailing mother, portrayed by Ethel Barrymore. Grant's portrayal in this now somewhat forgotten film earned him his second Academy Award nomination. Interestingly, he considered it one of his personal favorites, as he felt the role aligned more closely with his true nature compared to the light-hearted characters he was accustomed to playing. By the early 1940s, Grant became one of the first actors to achieve the status of a free agent, breaking away from the traditional studio contracts that dominated Hollywood at the time. This newfound freedom allowed him to handpick his roles and become increasingly selective about the projects he took on. One of his initial decisions as a free agent was to collaborate with Alfred Hitchcock once again in the 1946 film Notorious. Grant's career continued to flourish as he ventured into new territories and showcased. Ingrid Bergman, a renowned actress of her time, joined forces with Grant in one of his films, where he took on the role of an American agent on a mission to track down neo-Nazis. This collaboration showcased Grant's versatility as an actor, as he seamlessly transitioned from his comedic roles to a more serious and action-packed character. During this period, Grant also took on a number of comedic films that further solidified his status as a master of the genre. In 1947, he starred in The Bachelor and The Bobbysoxer, a light-hearted romantic comedy that delighted audiences with its witty dialogue and charming performances. 2 years later, Grant appeared in I Was a Male War Bride, a hilarious film that followed the misadventures of a French officer who marries an American woman. However, it was Grant's collaboration with the legendary director Alfred Hitchcock that truly showcased his talent and left a lasting impact on his career. In 1955, Grant starred in For To Catch a Thief, a thrilling film where he portrayed a reformed criminal who becomes the prime suspect in a series of high-profile robberies. Alongside the stunning Grace Kelly, Grant delivered a captivating performance that kept audiences on the edge of their seats. Hitchcock once again challenged Grant's abilities in 1959's North by Northwest. In this iconic film, Grant played an advertising executive who finds himself caught up in a web of murder and espionage. Constantly on the run from dangerous forces, Grant's character navigates a treacherous world filled with suspense and intrigue, showcasing his impeccable timing and charisma. Grant's partnership with Audrey Hepburn in the 1963 film Charade brought together a perfect blend of humor, romance, and thrills. This stylish and playful film satirized the genre while allowing Grant and Hepburn to showcase their undeniable chemistry on screen. In his final film, Walk Don't Run in 1966, Grant took on a different role as a mature matchmaker. This comedic production showcased Grant's ability to adapt to different genres and demonstrated his versatility as an actor. After Walk Don't Run, Grant made the decision to retire from the world of filmmaking, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable performances and a reputation as one of the greatest actors of his time. His collaborations with iconic co-stars and directors solidified his status as a Hollywood legend, and his films continue to be celebrated and cherished by audiences around the world. Cary Grant, a Hollywood icon, was also a savvy businessman. His close relationship with Howard Hughes opened doors in Hollywood and provided valuable business insights. By 1939, Grant had established himself as a shrewd operator with diverse commercial interests, thanks to Hughes' guidance. Grant's ventures extended beyond Hollywood, including real estate investments in Acapulco with notable personalities. Known for his exceptional intellect, Grant was praised for his mental acuity, compared to a human computer. Critics highlighted his unique blend of physical charm and intelligence on screen. Even after retiring from acting, Grant remained active in the business world. His role on the board of directors at Fayberge contributed significantly to the company's growth. Grant's involvement in various enterprises showcased his enduring dedication to business pursuits beyond Hollywood. Biographer Nancy Nelson noted that Cary Grant mostly avoided political causes but did speak out against the blacklisting of Charlie Chaplin during the McCarthy era. Grant supported the idea of a female president in a 1950 interview, but generally stayed away from political discussions. He backed Thomas Dewey in the 1944 election and attended Democratic events in the 1960s. Grant surprised many by appearing at the 1976 Republican National Convention to support Gerald Ford's re-election and advocate for female equality. Despite his conservative views, Grant did not actively campaign for candidates, as he mentioned in a 1977 interview. Grant was at the Adler Theater in Davenport, Iowa, on the afternoon of Saturday, November 29, 1986, preparing for his performance. In a conversation with Cary Grant when he was taken ill, he had been feeling unwell as he arrived at the theater. Basil Williams photographed him there and thought that he still looked his usual suave self, but he noticed that he seemed very tired and that he stumbled once in the auditorium. Williams recalls that Grant rehearsed for half an hour before something seemed wrong all of a sudden, and he disappeared backstage. Grant was taken back to the Black Hawk Hotel where he and his wife had checked in, and a doctor was called and discovered that Grant was having a massive stroke with a blood pressure reading of 210/130. Grant refused to be taken to the hospital. The doctor recalled the stroke was getting worse. In only 15 minutes, he deteriorated rapidly. It was terrible watching him die and not being able to help. But he wouldn't let us. By 8:45 p.m., Grant had slipped into a coma and was taken to St. Luke's Hospital in Davenport, Iowa. He spent 45 minutes in the emergency room before being transferred to intensive care. He died at 11:22 p.m., aged 82. The New York Times editorial expressed that Cary Grant was meant to be immortalized as a symbol of charm, elegance, romance, and youth. After his passing, his body was cremated in California, with his ashes being scattered in the Pacific Ocean. In accordance with his wishes, no funeral was held for him, reflecting his private nature. Roderick Mann stated that such a decision was fitting for the man who shunned extravagance. Grant's estate, valued at around $60 to $80 million, was largely inherited by Barbara Harris and Jennifer.